Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Academic Wellbeing Conversations with Recent Graduates. Today we're joined by the amazing Kate. Kate recently graduated last week. You had your graduation, am I right?
Yeah, last week.
And finished studying last May?
Yeah, graduated last May, but graduated last week as well.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a double. So Kate, do you want to tell us a little bit about being in the faculty, about what course you studied?
Yeah, so I studied sociology, and it was in FAH, so Faculty of Arts and Humanities, and we were based in the George Eliot building at the time. I think it might have changed now, but it was a really lovely course. We had a lot of very supportive lecturers and teachers, and there was a really good course atmosphere, which fostered a lot of good conversation, which is what you really need in sociology when you're talking about intersectional issues such as race and gender and sexuality. And I graduated with a first class degree, which I'm very proud of.
Very, very, very impressive. And as part of that last year's cohort, what we're trying to do with this at the minute is try and give about a little bit of the tips and tricks that you may have found when you were studying during lockdown, during the pandemic, that might be helpful to other students. Yeah. You just mentioned about, creating those discussions between students. Did you do that in any digital formats, or was that very much in person?
We did a couple of seminars in online when it when everything first started going online, when everybody knew what they were doing, and we had some recorded lectures, and they were really funny because our lecturers pets would suddenly turn up, and they'd be integrated into it. But we had some seminars, and then when the Black Lives Matter movement first started, and people were protesting, we organised as a course after we'd finished a seminar of our own so that we could have discussions about it, because it's very integral to our course, race, and then the different intersections of that. So it was really good to hear from a lot of different perspectives, people who had been to the protests, people who are from different ethnic backgrounds, hearing their experiences and what we can learn from this, and then decolonising the curriculum and how far that has gone, and what we're working to do. So it was really handy knowing everybody on your course that you do by third year, and then being able to have those discussions still.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I think, even with everything that's going on, it might take a little bit extra for students to put themselves out there in a digital format, because you don't have that security of knowing who you're talking to, or if you've not met them in person, it's a little bit different. But as you were a first class degree student with I believe you won an honours as well, didn't you?
I won a tutor's prize.
I like the little hair flick back there as well, the tutor's prize as well. And it, that sounds like part of that reason was because you were so invested in your degree, and doing the extra sort of work around it.
I think the more you put into it, it's always the same with work, voluntary work, friendships, your course. The more you put in, the more you get out. Yep. So as much as my dissertation tutor loved seeing me about every day for about an hour while I went, "Hi, Kath, I think I'm failing this again," and then didn't. She had a lot of belief in me. When I think the biggest piece of advice I can give is, if you're confused or anxious or stressed or nervous, ask somebody. You have a group chat with your friends on your course. Ask them, do you know what this part of the question means? So that I can read it. Is anyone else doing this question? So we can share resources. Have you read a good book that can do this? Ask a lecturer. They wrote the questions. They can tell you what they mean. If you're not sure about the actual writing process, go to the Academic Writing Centre. All you have to do is book an appointment. For me, it was really helpful. Our subject librarian, Lisa, she did sociology. I think she did history as well, maybe politics. And I could go to her. She'd tell me, I'd tell her the question, tell her what my dissertation was on. And she'd go, "Oh, these are what you're going to get. Put them in the search engines, these keywords." And actually, I thought I knew after 3 years at the university how to use all the resources on Locate and everything, and using Box of Broadcast and all of this. But actually, I didn't know how to do all the advanced things on it that she taught me. So that really progressed all the resources I could find. So I think utilize people. These people are there for you. Your friends are there for you because they're invested in you. You're invested in them. It's a two-way street. Your lecturers are being paid to teach you, but also they're also invested in you. My lecturers, I couldn't tell you how amazing they are. Like, everything that they did was for us, and like that was shown through it. So the better relationship you have with them, the more you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant point to make. And I think one of the issues that I can see a lot of students having in it, even myself, is one, looking like a fool for asking questions that you may think or perceive to be simple. But, you know, university is a big place, and information lost through lectures and seminars or through self-learning can happen quite quickly. It's so much better just to put yourself out there a bit and really hope that back.
I think even so, if you're nervous, because in first year, I was very nervous. I'd made a lot of friends with people who weren't on my course. The people I lived with, through the whole time, they were my like core friends. And at the end of second year, I went on a trip with our course to Sweden, and I met some lovely people because I put myself out there. I put my hand up while we were all sitting downstairs, and I put my hand up and I went, does anybody want to go to the botanical gardens tomorrow? Because I really want to go. And a group of 6 other people who I'm very close friends with now said, yes, I'd love to come. So we went all together. And then once I put myself out there, I started asking more questions in lectures and things like that. Because it can be really hard if you don't have the confidence at the start to start asking those questions. But I was that person who everybody wanted to go home. And I put my hand up going, sorry, I've just got one more question. And if other people didn't feel like they could ask a question, they'd say, Kate, can you ask this? And I go, yeah, of course I can. Of course I can ask that. Because the people always say there's no such thing as a stupid question. Some stupid questions are stupid questions. If it's already been explained and you weren't listening. But most of the time they're not stupid questions because other people will be thinking them. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it online in a lecture, or hopefully when we can all go back in person, if you don't feel it, stop behind afterwards. Lectures always wait around about 5 minutes. So you could go up to them, ask them, so sorry, I didn't feel comfortable doing it, asking in front of everybody, but can you just tell me more about that slide? And they'll pop it up and they'll talk through it, or they'll say, come in my office hours and we'll go through it again. It's just always put yourself out there if you feel comfortable, and if not, put yourself out there in private.
Yeah,
email.
I think that's it. And I think one of the things I think sometimes students forget is that lecturers, like nobody at the university, and lecturers especially, don't want to see you fail for whatever reason. You know, like nobody gets a bonus at the end of the month for like, oh, 3 of your students failed this course. In fact, it's the opposite. And if you're worried about failing, or if you're worried about a certain specific area, just be polite, introduce yourself. And one of the, I was
gonna say, and I think you got to remember, lecturers, to get to the place that they've got to, asked questions. They had to do, in my case, they had to do sociology or SOC Crim, and then do a master's, and then like some are working on a PhD, some are already have theirs. To do that, you have to have had a lot of help. To write a master's, to write your dissertation, to write your PhD, you will have supervisors. They're the people you ask for help. So I feel like, again, once you have a better relationship with them and you put yourself out there, there's people will help. And also, you've got to put yourself a bit of slack during the pandemic. People have never done this before. Nobody has ever gone, sorry, write a dissertation, finish writing your dissertation in our case, because we'd already started it, finish writing your dissertation in a month when all other things have been cancelled. You can no longer go to the ball. You can no longer have your graduation. You can't see your friends anymore. You can go out once a day. Nobody's ever had to do that before. And in the case of students doing their third year now, having to do the whole thing online nearly, nobody's had to do that. not even we had to do that. So taking a step back from other things. So I used to volunteer with the student union, and I feel like this year I might have had to take it back a step, because I took back a step in other voluntary roles that I have in girl guiding, because I realised that I needed to prioritise some things more, and some things they're voluntary, and they're taking more than what I can give at the minute. And I think that's important when you think, nobody's done this before. Who's to judge me on how I do it? Because you always see, I feel like you always see the best of like people on social media when they're putting up, oh, writing this. But it was the same at uni when I was there. Feels like back in the day now. Where it's like, oh, I'm in the library. They've took a meal deal and wrote 3 sentences, been there for 2 hours. They've not done it. But it looks like they're doing so much more than what they've done. So I think when you see people going, oh, I've been to 4 online lectures today and now I'm doing this, they put that on social media. They've gone and had a biscuit. That's all they've done. They've took a picture, oh, that's enough work now. So work for what's best for you.
It's about, that individual journey. Don't get bogged down by what others are doing too much.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit there about your life outside of university. And obviously, as you say, you're now way past university life, 1 year on. What have you been doing to keep yourself busy? And where are you at now, if you don't mind me asking?
So I'm still at home. I moved back home when the pandemic started, left all my friends. They all went back to their homes across the country. Haven't seen them since, bless them. But I'm at home and I started applying for graduate jobs. Applying for graduate jobs, is very hard work. They want a lot of information from you before you've even started. All the things you tend to prep for like an interview needs to be in there. A great thing from that the university offers, and they do it for different faculties, is the talent team, the graduate talent team. You can ask them about writing personal statements for jobs or for master's degrees. If you sign up to their emails, they tell you what type of roles are going on. And I got one this morning about if I was interested in doing law but hadn't done a law degree, things like that. But I think I was applying for all these graduate jobs and it was bogging. I was starting to feel very like stressed, anxious that I hadn't got interviews, because I felt like I got a lot to offer people. It wasn't always being taken up. And the reason is we're in a pandemic. There's less roles. There's more competition. There's people who have had 10 years experience now going for jobs that are graduate entry level because they've been furloughed, they've been made redundant. So what I did was I was talking to my mum and I thought, right, these are the skills that I have. I've done activities coordinating before at university with the student volunteering team and with the wellbeing team. I've been a brownie leader since I was 12. I've worked with guides up to like the age of 14, people from the age of 5. I have these skills. This is my skill set. What can I do? Because I was trying to get a job doing like volunteering, coordinating or fundraising, because that's what I'm really passionate about. And I decided to look at jobs that weren't graduate jobs, something that would give me paid employment in something that I could then later not rely on. I'd later like look back on and I could use that experience. So I started doing activities coordinating at the care home in my village. And it sounds like you'd go to university, I got this degree, got these tutors prizes. Oh, she's gone to a care home. That's not like that. I have met some lovely people and I've got so much experience and knowledge about a whole different age group to what you're not usually exposed to. They have different needs to what I've worked with before. They've got different mobility. So it's learning how to adapt to all those different needs. And it was using a skill set I had and growing it. So I could keep on applying for other jobs while I was there, because I didn't ever think, oh, this is going to be my job forever. But sometimes you fall into a job. My manager at my care home started as a carer and ended up being the manager. She worked her way up, did different levels of education as she was there. And I think it's important that you take each experience for what it is. You learn from it, you get the best out of it that you possibly can. So
no, that's fantastic. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I think it's one of the difficult, I think, life realizations is that once the final academic piece of work that you need to do is in, the last minute of the examination is complete, that you are now this fully formed package of a person ready to be an industry leader in the industries and careers that are chosen. But I think there's a slight anxiousness that can come with that as well, that that some people might have, or a slight arrogance as well. I definitely had it, that I have a degree, I'm ready for anything the world throws at me, and I couldn't book a meeting in through a calendar invite.
You get sold it, and I don't mean this in any bad way about the university, but you're sold the best alumni. There's somebody who's got through all those stages of the FAH stream and are in one of the top jobs that they're sold to in the career fest. You're this person went on to teaching and now they're doing this. This person doing this. But there's a lot of people who aren't doing that. And I feel like it can make you worried that, oh no, I can see all my friends are doing this, or why are other people getting these opportunities when maybe I had a lot more voluntary experience and they hadn't. And I think it's very hard to not compare yourself to people. Because you're taught to go, oh, they're doing that, I should be doing that. But also, I live in a rural area of Leicestershire where somebody I know lives in London, where there's a lot more opportunities. Some of the opportunities I was applying for were in Birmingham, which is our nearest biggest city, because there's not much opportunity in Leicestershire.
In rural Leicestershire as well.
Yeah, I've got cows at the bottom of my field. It's a lovely area to live in, but the opportunities aren't as big as if I lived in a big city. So it's that, I'd have to travel, maybe I'd have to relocate. But that's why other people are getting some jobs and I'm not. That's why I'm sat at home filling out all of these application forms and not hearing anything back. But I think you just got to, again, cut yourself some slack.
And not to give up hope, I think, is another one. Keep going at it.
I think
50 no's that lead to the right job is better than the first one being a yes and not finding yourself.
Yeah, I mean, people will say it to you over and over again, and you won't believe it, but things fall into place. My mum says this to me, my dad, my grandma, everybody will go to you. Things will fall into place one day, and it's really hard to believe because you're there in the moment thinking, well, when's it going to fall into place? Why isn't this my opportunity? Why is this somebody else's opportunity? I think I'd be really good at this role, but they haven't interviewed you, so they don't get to know how brilliant you are.
Yeah.
And I think you've just got to have that belief, haven't you? That something will come along. You'll meet somebody and pull your connections.
Yes.
Not to be like nepotism, but does your mum know somebody who works at a university? Does your dad know somebody who works at a football club? Does that person in the football club then have know the HR role going? Or you've got to ask people, even if you haven't seen them in years, if they were your mum's friend from university that now owns this company, ask your mum to ask them for you. If you're too nervous, email them. Hi, I've heard that you went to What's It with my mum. I was just wondering if there's any roles going, because sometimes it gets you that little bit more, that step up the ladder.
It does, just a foot in the door kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that the main thing I'm getting from this conversation though, Kate, is just the resilience, is just you haven't given up in terms of when it comes to, as you say, applying for things, and which is fantastic to hear.
Because I was working at the care home, and I've just recently, like last week, finished. And it took people, residents at the care home, and they were asking about my life and what I'd done. And they go, "Oh, what do you want to do?" It took them to make me realise how much I wanted to do a master's degree.
Mm-hmm.
I loved my course and I loved learning so much, which sounds really cliche, I know, but I loved it. And one day, hopefully, I'd like to teach at a university in sociology, which I always thought was a bit unattainable, but really it's not. You just got to work hard and carry on. But it was other people's belief in me that I'd only known for a few months to go, well, do it then. What are you doing? What are you doing? Just look for them, ask questions, go to open days, find out what you want to do. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you, Hilda.
Excellent. So yeah, so the application of the masters, I'm assuming is beginning.
Yeah, I'm trying to write a personal statement, and I think everybody who's ever written a personal statement will know how hard a personal statement is to write, because it's writing about yourself in a very like positive way. And I think a lot of people, especially in Britain, are quite self-deprecating. And as a person with a lot of anxiety and stress, it fills me with but what if they read my personal statement and they don't think I'm like the person for this course? So what I've done is I've reached out to my old lecturers. I emailed them and said, "Hi, I know that you read a lot of personal statements. What kind of things make a good personal statement? What kind of things would draw you in?" And as a master's student, personal statements are a bit different, because it's not so much, this is what I've done at school, this is why I want to do it. It's, these are the things I did at university, these are the pieces of coursework I did, this is why I'm qualified for this master's course. Yep. It's not so much like biography about you. It's like, these are my abilities. I'm just stuck on the first sentence. It's that first line where it's like, got to grab you in.
Leaving strong. I am an award-winning student with a first-class degree in sociology.
No, I need something catchy.
Happier.
I need something happier that I can get in.
That makes sense.
But it's that I just reached out. I asked. I didn't know. I looked on the internet and it wasn't helping me much. I asked my mum, because she used to lecture, what kind of things, but she's from a different background. She taught in maths and statistics at the university, so it's kind of different to a humanities-based subject in a way. Yeah. But I'm asking people. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, and I think that's a great takeaway. I think we'll have to cut it there, but I just think that's some fantastic knowledge and experience that you've shared with us, Kate. So a big thank you from me.
Thank you.
Good luck with the master's application. I'm not sure which university you'll have chosen yet, but I'm fingers crossed when we can return to campus. Hopefully we'll see you around, but we'll see where you're at. Thank you so much, Kate. Have a wonderful day. Bye.